Hey, Reggie Rivers here with the Gala Team Benefit Auctioneers. And, this is a little bit of a news flash. It may sound obvious, but if you want to be successful as a benefit auctioneer, you have to love nonprofits. You have to love the sector. It's not, there are a lot of nonprofits out there doing a lot of different things, and it might feel impossible. How can I love all nonprofits? Um, but that's what you have to do. You really have to fall in love with the role that nonprofits play in our community, the impact that they have on the lives of vulnerable people, and you have to fall in love with that. And so that may seem hard until you put it in a different context. Let's say you were a third grade teacher, right? We all can understand a third grade teacher has to love children, or at least love children who are 8, 9, and 10 years old. Third grade teacher has to love that the questions that kids ask, has to love the curiosity that they have, has to love the innocence that they have, has to love that when they walk in her door at the beginning of third grade, 90% of them don't know how to read. And when they walk out the door at the end of third grade, 90% of them are going to know how to read. That they have to be in love with that experience and what that means. And of course, as individual children arrive, they might discover that, hey, I really love Ashley a little bit more than everybody else because she's so sweet. And Billy, oh, what an adorable kid he is. And oh gosh, Jason back here, he is kind of a handful. But even the kids who are annoying to them, even the kids who are challenging to them, they still love children and they still judge those children as children. They don't judge them as adults. They don't expect them to be more than they are. And so we get it that a third grade teacher has to love children in order to be an effective third grade teacher. I would say on the other end of the spectrum, if you're going to be a nurse working in a retirement center, a senior living center, you better love older people and you better love helping people who are sick, because at a senior living center, you're going to be dealing with people who are at the end of their lives and they have a lot of physical maladies. If you're the kind of person who's just going to work every day and saying, yeah, it's just a paycheck, I really hate old people and I hate sick people, yeah, you're not going to be very effective at your job, and your patients aren't going to be very happy when you show up. They're going to get a frown on their face every time you walk in the door. And so with a teacher, with a nurse, we understand it. It's obvious. But with a gala, if you're going to be a benefit auctioneer, the same thing is true. You have to love nonprofits. You have to love the mission that they have. And here's the way it's going to show up for you. You'll be on the stage in front of 500 people or 750 people or 1,000 people, and you're going to be in a room full of people who love that nonprofit, that particular nonprofit. And so the people who work on the staff of that nonprofit, they love the nonprofit. That's why they work there. The people who are on the board of that nonprofit, they love that nonprofit. That's why they volunteered to come on the board and help with the fundraising. The people who are raising their paddles to bid in the live auction or make donations in the paddle raiser, they love the nonprofit. It's the reason that they're there and the reason they're raising their paddles. Then there are plenty of other people in the audience who don't have the financial means to raise their paddles, but they're at the event because they love the nonprofit. And then, of course, there's going to be some people in the room who don't love the nonprofit. They came as a guest of someone else. Their company bought a table, and that's why they're sitting at the table. But all of the active people at the event are people who love the organization. So if you're on the stage as the auctioneer and you don't love the organization and you're just up there thinking, well, this is just how I earn my living, this is just a paycheck, I'm good at conducting an auction, I'm good at doing the paddle raiser, I'm just going to go do it, and that's all I'm going to do, I'm not going to get too involved in anything else. Well, that's going to show through. The audience is going to feel it, and when they feel it, there's going to be a little emotional resistance, and they're not going to donate as much money because they can feel from you that you're not in it. And so if you want to be successful as a benefit auctioneer, you have to love nonprofits. You have to fall in love with the sector as a whole, fall in love with the role that nonprofits play in our community, fall in love with the impact they have and the help that they give to the vulnerable, fall in love with the necessity of the nonprofits, that they live in this crack between the corporate world that solves all the marketable problems. If there's a way to make a dollar at it, the corporate world will figure it out. There's government services that come to a certain point, but there's this gap in between where the government services don't quite reach and the corporate solutions don't quite work. And so that's where the nonprofits live. You have to fall in love with that tranche and really become invested in it. That's the only way you're going to be successful as a benefit auctioneer. So I wish you lots of luck. Fall in love with nonprofits and you'll be good to go.